Hello, everyone. Welcome to this MEF webinar. My name is Tim Green. I'm the Director of MEF's APIs and Authentication Program, and I'm delighted to welcome you to today's session. The EU wallet, what it is, what to expect, and what it means for the mobile ecosystem. This session will last between 30 and 45 minutes, and you can ask questions at any time by clicking on the Q&A tab. And we'll record the webinar and share it on MEF socials so you can watch again or share with colleagues who missed it. Now, onto today's topic. There's a lot of attention on the EU wallet. It promises to bring private, safe, and self-sovereign form of ID verification to millions of EU citizens across 27 member states from early next year. So it's really worth exploring. And today's guest knows a lot about this landmark project. She's Stephanie Peyrat. She's the digital identity business owner at Thales. So thanks for joining us, Stephanie. Thales is one of the companies helping to build the architecture around the EU wallet. And there is, in fact, a connection to MEF because Thales used to be Gemalto, and Gemalto used to own A2P aggregator and MEF member NetSize. So some of the members might remember that company. I certainly do. And today, Thales is a global technology leader operating in digital identity space, cybersecurity, aerospace, defense, and secure communications. And in the ID space, it's a world leader in secure electronic documents. Physical documents such as ID cards, passports, and driving license, and digital identity platforms, authentication technologies, and cryptographic security infrastructure. And Thales currently supports more than 200 national identity programs worldwide and works closely with governments, financial institutions, telcos, and transport authorities. So with the introduction out of the way, welcome again, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us today. Let's just start with the big picture. What is the e-wallet?
Hello, Tim, and hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this hot topic, I would say, today. I hope I will do my best to demystify what is around the e-wallet and what's going on currently in Europe, expecting the introduction of the EU wallet by the end of the year. So, as you said, Tim, what is first the EU digital wallet? In fact, it's a secure mobile wallet enabling citizens, residents, or businesses to store and share verified digital credential. When we mean verified digital credential, it can be either identity data, driving license, diploma, banking attribute, and this will be shared across Europe.
Okay, well, we're going to dive into all of those elements of the wallet in the next few minutes. We've got a presentation here which is going to help us to walk through different aspects of it. So let's go for the first slide. And this is the key principles. This is the why question, really. So can you give us an idea of, why do we need this wallet and what are the key principles behind it?
So the key stakes for Europe is really to develop the interoperability, because as you may know that in Europe, we cannot manage this wallet in a centralized way. It's not a vertical way to govern. So we really need the first idea is really to develop the interoperability across the EU member states. Of course, by building strong privacy by design and keeping user control and full user control. And we'll come back to that many times during the presentation. Also being usable for public and private services. So we will talk about being able to get use cases cross-segment and cross-borders beyond the different EU countries. And lastly, as it is citizen-centric, it will need to be inclusive and widely accessible by anybody.
Okay, and that includes residents and citizens and businesses, which is interesting. Okay, so let's sort of break down this wallet ecosystem. There's three main parts to it. Obviously, lots more than that. You can break it down further, but this issuer, holder, verifier value chain. Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, trying to demystify I would say the taxonomy or the vocabulary, but we need to keep it simple and to keep in mind that it is the same way as we do it for the physical documents. So
Yeah.
the issuer, the trusted issuer, will be responsible to provide the digital identity data or attributes. The trusted issuer are government or certified organization that will provide this verified digital credential, like we said previously, like the identity data or driving license or health information. And then this credential, once they are issued by the government, they are stored securely in the citizen EU digital identity wallet on their smartphone. And then the user become what we call the holder and stay fully in control. The user is then able to prove its identity, whether it is online or offline. He will be able to authenticate, to sign documents, to share attributes across different type of service, whether it is private service or cross-border services. On the right, what we call the verifier is in fact the service provider ecosystem, such as banks, it could be police authorities, it could be e-commerce platforms, and they can request proof of specific information. The user can then share only what is needed, and the verifier, so the service provider, can instantly check the authenticity using the trusted public key infrastructure. And overall, this creates a trusted digital ecosystem where identity can be verified securely, quickly, and across borders.
Okay, so I'm a citizen and I have my EU wallet on my smartphone, and I've filled it full of credentials that could be my degree, my passport, my driving license. And then when I go to a third party, they ask for one of these credentials, and I can securely share it. And I don't have to share all of the details. I can share just my age or just my the fact that my driving license is valid and those kinds of things. I think they call that selective disclosure.
Correct, and it's very similar to the situation team that we were able to show through QR code. We were not showing all the validity of the vaccine or all the data of the vaccine, but also only the go-no-go status, meaning that we were vaccinated or not.
Yeah. And who's going to supply the wallet for the smartphone? Would that be government issued, or will private companies be able to supply that wallet?
So the EU wallet is intended to be free for the citizen. So it can be provided by any, I would say, app developer, but still under the control of the government, because this EU wallet need to be certified, and the fact that we are issuing digital document doesn't prevent the government to take the full responsibility in terms of, we say, a legal impact or legal weight to use the digital identity as the way you are using the physical documents today.
Right. Okay. Let's look at the timeline, because I said at the beginning of the presentation that the wallet will launch early next year. I'm not sure if that's true. That's what I've heard, but you guys will know more than me. So why don't you walk us through some of the history and the expected launch dates for the wallet?
So the introduction of the wallet, it has been introduced with the latest EIDAS framework regulation in 2024, and stated that the member states should provide an EU wallet by December 26, so meaning end of this year. And what does it mean to provide an EU? At least one holding what we call a PID, a personal identification data, which is, I would say, the core of the identification data that will be that will serve to verify credential and to access to any type of services. And it should follow also the EU technical requirement. We call it the architecture reference framework, where you can find all the architecture, the security mechanism, the standard schema, which are very important to ensure interoperability. And overall, this EU wallet needs to ensure what we call a level of assurance high to be able to get a maximum of use cases when it comes, for example, to onboard new to open a new account in banking or for voting. This is very critical from a governance standpoint, so we will need to reach this high level. Knowing that the introduction is by the end of the year, the state or the public and the private sector will have to accept this EU wallet by the end of 2027. So the member states need to produce first the certified EU wallet by the end of this year, and end of next year, this wallet need to be approved by anybody in the ecosystem. And what also is important to share with you is about the evaluation and the certification schema, because ENISA, who is the certification agency in Europe, it's still working on the certification schema. So in the meantime, to get this certified EU wallet, the states will need to rely on their own national certification schema. And we see that until 2028, 2029.
Right.
And finally, in Europe, the objective is to reach a wide adoption of 80% by 2030, which is quite ambitious.
Mhm. So just there will be some form of launch at the end of this year. So if I'm an EU citizen, what will I be able to do with the wallet by December 2026?
So it's regulated, Tim. So it's even more important because the member state will fall under the mandate of this EU wallet. So there is an obligation. It's mandatory for them to put on the market this e-wallet.
Okay.
As a citizen first, we will be able to get this wallet and to get, I would say, the first type of credential, which is the digital identity. The challenge here is to have enough service providers, so to develop enough the ecosystem to make sure that we can use this digital identity when willing to go on a government portal to pay taxes, or to rent a car with the driving license, or to open an account. And the challenge is really to develop as fast as possible this ecosystem.
So let's recap some of the benefits. We kind of, in a few minutes ago, we talked about the benefits to consumers, but it's not just consumers, there's benefits to all stakeholders in the ecosystem. Can you just run through those?
Yes, so in terms of ecosystem, we start with the citizen first, because imagine that any citizen can open a bank account, rent a car, check for in-flight or access public services, all this from their smartphone in few seconds. It means that they will no longer need to carry multiple documents or repeatedly fill in forms. So that's what we do currently. And they can simply share verified information when needed, while staying in full control of their personal data. So for citizens, I would say that the big benefit, it means more convenience, more security, and seamless access across borders. For the government, it's another story. For them, it really represents, it's part of the digital ID program and transformation. It represents really a scalable and trusted infrastructure to modernize the public administration and improve service delivery to the citizen experience. And finally, as we are tackling Europe, it enables interoperability of digital services across EU borders. So, for example, then in Belgium, they will be able to recognize my digital identity to open a bank account. And finally, for the service providers, the wallet will help to simplify user onboarding and authentication thanks to faster and more automated verification. It will overall reduce identity fraud and increase data protection of the citizen, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I remember 10 years ago going to conferences about self-sovereign identity. It was all, back then it was all tied up with crypto and blockchain, and it was all very complicated and it was difficult to understand. But this idea that you would take control of your identity and share credentials, but it and a solution to a lot of the problems that we face today in terms of making things simpler but also safer. But it's taken more than 10, but it feels like, you know, we're very close to that. So it's quite exciting.
And we're getting closer and closer, and to bridge where we are getting closer in Europe, there are also several large-scale pilot programs which have been launched to enable test the interoperability, the user experience, to assess the cybersecurity approach. So it's really to put in the hand of the user to test in real the user journey, to get real use cases, to assess the deployment model, and this is addressed in many services area in the large scale pilot that have been run into 2 phases, like you present here. We have been tackling many industries, like it comes from banking or education, also and so on, to different use cases across the EU member state. And as you said, Europe is a vast laboratory at now where we need to test this wallet.
And Thales is involved with these pilots?
Yes, we are involved in a number of European consortium at the moment, and we have been contributing at many levels. So at the very beginning of the large-scale pilot, we were involved in the technical specification and on the security approaches. Of course, securing the smartphone and wallet was very important. And as mentioned earlier, the ENISA is still working on the wallet certification schema. And now what we are doing with the Aptitude or Will Build consortium is that we are more running into interoperability sessions. So we have quarterly session when we have the holders, but we have also issuers, verifiers, and we test interoperability. And these pilots are very essential to accelerate the deployment readiness and to make sure that we validate the real use case journey.
Okay, well, speaking of use cases, let's explore some of the possibilities here. So we've got a slide here showing some of the options.
So we have Europe has been exploring a lot of use cases, but with a strong emphasis on accessing government services, because this is, I would say, first focus and the main purpose of the e-wallet. Of course, managing payment and opening bank accounts. So all this banking area is also well covered in the different large-scale pilot. And also, I will say that the less obvious at the moment is more the traveling, because we are struggling more with the border control,
Right.
and it's not so easy when it comes to border, to approved what we call digital travel credential, the DTC, and to be approved among the different borders.
So it's first, there's a couple there that I'd like to talk about. There's SIM registration, which obviously a lot of our viewers will be interested in. Can you explain how that might work?
So in terms of SIM registration, for the operator, in fact, you need to see the use case as replacing the traditional, I would say, KYC onboarding and authentication, to be replaced by using when opening, I would say, as an operator, as opening an account, you need to onboard first, and you will be replacing your traditional KYC flow by inserting the wallet and prove your identity through the wallet.
Mm. And then the other one is the organizational identities. So presumably there is a business wallet scheme, I believe. So does this refer to that?
So the organizational digital identity is also to so it could be, in fact, national bodies, but that are mandated by government. For me, the business wallet is another story. Is the fact that we develop a wallet, but representing a corporate organization, which is no longer a citizen, so meaning a moral person instead of a physical person, and to store in that wallet not the digital identity of the citizen, of course, but more the corporate or business attribute. And it could be the VAT number, the IBAN, the registration number,
Right.
and the I would say the corporate organization will benefit from the same type of interaction. Each time that we need to interact with their ecosystem, whether it is suppliers, or whether it is a public administration, whether it is banking, the business wallet will enable them to prove their identity through this business wallet. But it will work a bit differently because we talked about having the control of the data, and as it is a moral person, at the moment we have still some gray area in here because there is a delegation to manage because there can be several people being accountable to be moral person of a company, and then being able to use this business wallet.
Okay. All right. Let's there we go. Stop sharing. So can we just recap Thales' role? So I know that there was an announcement recently of a collaboration between your company and Ubiquitous and hardware security modules and biometrics. And again, our audience, I think, will be very interested in that. So can you just explain what that partnership is all about?
So the partnership, I didn't want to share with you what we call the architecture reference framework because it was a lot of technical pieces of that.
Yeah.
But to summarize, to secure the wallet, in fact, it relies on an applet on the wallet and on a physical part to be binded. And the partnership we got with UbiQ, as we are world leaders in we have been partnering with UbiQ between what would be installed and used through the HSM and what would be installed on the wallet.
Okay, so let's get into the user experience. Obviously, the pilot would have shown some of the maybe the challenges around this, or maybe what worked. I don't know. But let's just try and walk through for the user experience. If I've got the wallet and I want to add a credential to it, what does that look like? And then also, what does it look like when I need to share that credential with a third party?
Okay, so first, Tim, you need to keep in mind that using the wallet is the same way as you are using your physical document. So,
Okay.
of course, government will release what we call a generic wallet. But this wallet need so when you first onboard to the first, then you have to prove your identity for a wallet to be personalized to you, and this is done by binded with your identity card. And then this wallet is now recognized as being Team Green wallet. So it's strongly associated between your personal identification data, and you become the holder of the wallet. If you want to add more credential now, so you have your identity card stored on your wallet. If you want to add more credential in your wallet, then the user can go on any government portal because you are willing to get your mobile driving license, for example.
Okay.
But to do so, you will always need to prove your identity once again, and it will also be based on your consent, and it is not mandatory for you um, um, to store this additional credential on your wallet. This belongs completely to what you are willing to do.
Okay. And
And maybe to complete, because one thing is important, because we know that physical documents are very secure, but security is everywhere in that process. So each time we are willing to add a new credential, um, then we use the PID, which is signed by the trusted issuer, the government. It is hardly binded with the wallet. So and the wallet itself has a lot of security mechanism to be protected.
so that first stage when I have to create my wallet and make it my wallet, how do I authenticate myself? Do I just have a selfie with my passport, or is it more
So
complicated than
so
that?
it's not complicated, and would say, at least from what we see in France, as I am a French citizen, but also with our customer, and I will say elsewhere than Europe. The first one is to take to use the chip that you have on the card with the NFC reading
Right.
uh, to authenticate yourself. And then we make a selfie with the liveness to make sure that it is you, Team Green, that is making the operation. Then there is and then the credential is uploaded into your wallet.
Okay. And so if I have my own wallet and it's all authenticated. Let's say I go to my university and I want a copy of my degree. When I go there, how do I? What's the process for me getting that credential? And how do they send it to my wallet? And what does it look like when it's in my wallet?
So in terms of diploma, if you are willing to add a wallet, so depending on the country, team either and then they and this
Right.
diploma, each time you will need, when you add a new credential, to re-authenticate with your PID. But once you consent to get this attribute on the wallet, then it will be uploaded automatically on your wallet.
Okay. And so,
And how it looks like? It looks like, so usually what we have is a very similar, I will say, fit, form, and function than what you have currently on your physical document. But these attributes are now secured enough to be shared with the ecosystem. I don't know if you need your diploma or your student card because you are willing to get a reduction when you go to cinemas, for example. Then you can present your student card when going to the cinema deck.
Yeah, well, I won't be doing that. Not anymore. Okay, so we sort of briefly mentioned that this wallet is self-sovereign, that you can share data on your terms and only, with the relevant part of the data, not your whole identity. So can you just recap what makes the EU wallet safer? What makes it way to tackle fraud, for example?
So first, why is it self-sovereign? And it is very important is that because the city control of its own attribute, there is no mandatory obligation to share attribute with any, I would say, verifier or service provider.
Mm.
And the wallet fully support what we call selective disclosure. And then you have been mentioning this previously. It could be
Yeah.
age status, and you don't need to provide your date of birth, for example. In some wallets, so depending on the application provider, but you can have like a red cross or a green tick if you are willing to show that you are, I don't know, above 18, for example. So this is very important that you can present only a part of the information that you are willing to disclose.
Okay. So you just mentioned like going to cinema and showing your student card, showing my student card.
It's in the future,
Yeah. And so, what does this a cinema or an online retailer or an employer, somebody who wants to ask you for a credential, what do these companies and enterprises have to do to become compatible with the wallet?
So in the other end, we call them verifier because
Yeah.
they will have in their hand what we call a verifier app. So this app could be installed in any type of device, and it could be mobile, it could be on the website, and etc.
Mm.
Normally, you present, so the holder, you will be presenting a QR code that will be read by this
Right.
verification app. Then you will be asked to consent on sharing your attribute, and you will be able to select your attribute. So, for example, you can only share your date of birth. And
Mm.
once you have been consent, then the attribute will be shared with the verifier. And this could be done in a face-to-face. For example, we were talking about the cinema if you are at the desk, but it could be done also remotely. Imagine you are willing to rent a car. You go into the I don't want to make any, any advertisement in here, but you go to your favorite rental car portal, and this rental car portal asks you to deliver your mobile driving lessons. And once again, you will do it from home. You will get a QR code. You will get the consent to share your attribute, and then your attribute about the mobile driving lessons will be sent uh, uh, to your car rental to approve the booking of your car.
I mean, it's going to be interesting how we've seen in the last few years, everyone now, even if you go to a market, a street market, everyone's got a contactless reader, um, and I imagine it'll be the same kind of thing where we'll suddenly see these readers everywhere as this wallet becomes more and more popular. So there are already some national wallets that are quite well established in Europe. I think there's a Bank ID in the Nordics, and there's SPID or SPID in Italy that are quite well established. How will the EU wallet live alongside those?
So the EU wallet would be so for the country which already have national wallet, first solution is to become an EU wallet. So meaning getting the certification and all the attribute we talked about, the architecture framework, being compliant with the standard, having an open source wallet, so they can I would say move to transform their existing wallet into any wallet. So that's the first case. The second case, you can imagine that they could be at we say national level multiple EU wallet strategy, because the EU wallet on one hand could be, I would say, a government led, like it is the case in France, for example, but the EIDAS2 framework allow also to develop EU wallet for private sector. So you can imagine that different private sector provider will develop the EU wallet and being certified. So you can have a different type of strategy, having multi EU wallet in the country. But you can also imagine that the EU wallet could be the master wallet of
Right.
the nation and interacting with the different wallets that already exist, for example, because this EU wallet is really the one, like you have your identity card. So it has a really a strong weight in terms of legal.
Right. So I know that Thales is involved in the technical building of the wallet, and we're still, a year away. But what has there been any discussion around the business model? You've got verifiers, you've got issuers, you've got holders. How's the money going to flow between these? What are the? I know these haven't been decided yet, but what are the possibilities?
So first, what is very clear is that from a citizen standpoint, it will be free, either to get the wallet, to be able to issue the credential into the wallet, or to prove your identity through the different verifier, as we mentioned previously. So it means that in terms of business transaction, we can monetize the verification mechanism, and we can think about different ways. It could be government who propose this verification app to be made available to the service provider, and then to us to monetize each time there is a transaction between the citizen and the service provider. The government can ask to monetize this transaction, for example. We can also envisage transaction because we will have multi-issuer, as you mentioned. We have multi-documents, multi-digital credential in the wallet. So we can also imagine that we can monetize the fact to issue the credential into the wallet, but nothing is stated yet. And we know that Europe is not very keen on driving this type of discussions when it comes to business models.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the UK, we've just had I just read a headline that the price for issuing your your driving license has just gone up, and that's for a physical license. So people are used to paying for credentials, I mean, when they're a physical document. So I don't imagine it would be a problem for people to. I don't think people would expect these credentials to be free, but I think the issue around how verifiers pay,
Yes.
is obviously that's still to be decided. Okay, so to wrap up, I mean, speaking of business models, uh, we have a mobile audience, obviously, with us today. Have you got any mobile stakeholders can participate in the system? Obviously, you've got MNOs, and they may be issuing credentials. And obviously, we talked about the SIM verification. But obviously, we have a lot of companies in the mobile space that are in the authentication space. So I know it's not your expertise, but do you have any thoughts on how the mobile stakeholders could participate?
So there are several way to look at it. So from my
Hmm.
for the operator, so they will need to adapt, like we said in the use cases, they will need to adapt the KYC, I would say, traditional flow, and take the e-wallet as an opportunity to be inserted in this full ecosystem, and to promote and propose simplifying onboarding and authentication mechanism. For the techno provider, we talked about the SIM, so there is a lot of space in the wallet security scheme uh, to envisage providing applet to mobile, whether it is on physical SIM or eSIM, and also being able to provide security mechanism on the wallet itself. But when it comes to transaction or to business, and to go back on your first
Yeah.
question, it's true that it will take times, but the EU wallet is it is a reality that I would say on the long run it will replace the actual way to transact.
Yeah. Well, I know that the companies that are members of the MEF are very entrepreneurial. I'm sure they'll find a way of participating in this new ecosystem. Um, but it's all very exciting. It's a new way of authenticating, which we've not really seen before, but it has the potential to be just very normal and for people to use it all the time. And anyway, with that, Stephanie, thank you very much for sharing all your insights today. It's great for to talk us through this, this wallet, which can sometimes there's lots of information out there on various EU websites, and I think Thales has also written quite a lot on this. Correct?
Yes, yes. Well, that's also a long story on our side, coming both from the cybersecurity and from
Yeah.
the document identity. We also need to adapt, like you said, for
Yeah. Of
for
course.
the MEF, for the operator. But we are world leaders in the documents. I hope that we
Mm.
can be world leader also in the digital identity and to adapt to this
Yeah.
framework.
Well, it's good to diversify. All right, Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you
Let's
to
wrap it up
you.
here, and it's great to see you. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you all next time.